Hidden away on a remote peninsula in northern Greece lies one of the most sacred and mysterious places on Earth, Mount Athos, a land where time stands still, guarded by monks and shrouded in centuries of tradition. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is unlike any other travel vlog. I'm taking you as close as I possibly can to Mount Athos, known as the Holy Mountain. As the first light of dawn spreads across the Aegean horizon, I find myself standing at the very edge of the modern world, Oronopoli. The name means City of Heaven, and it's the last stop before the world of Mount Athos begins. It's quiet here, the kind of quiet that makes you listen harder. Old stone houses line the narrow streets. Elderly locals open their shops with calm familiarity, and there's a scent in the air, part incense, part sea salt, and something else I can't quite place. Town. Maybe it's a threshold. From here on, it's not just geography that changes, it's time. Mount Athos isn't just a mountain, it's a sacred republic, a monastic state untouched by the pace of our modern lives. A place where history is still lived, not just remembered. People don't just pass through Oronopoli, they pause. Because just beyond that sea lies something very few people will ever see with their own eyes. I meet a local cafe owner, Dimitrios, who offers a cup of Greek coffee strong enough to wake the gods. They go to pray, not to take pictures. He says it with a smile, but there's a deep truth in his tone. Here in Oronopoli, you begin to realize this isn't a tourist trip, it's a spiritual crossroad. You can feel the weight of Mount Athos from here. The mountain is invisible right now, hidden in the mist, but it's there, waiting, watching. Tomorrow I take the ferry, permit in hand, camera rolling. You begin to realize this isn't a tourist trip. It's a spiritual crossroad. You can feel the weight of Mount Athos from here. The mountain is invisible right now, hidden in the mist, but it's there, waiting, watching. Tomorrow I take the ferry, permit in hand, camera rolling, but heart unsure. The engine hums to life. Our ferry, not just a boat but a passage into another world, begins its slow, reverent journey along the coast of Mount Athos. We are no tourists today, we are pilgrims. And this sea isn't just water, it's a veil that separates the visible from the invisible. There's a calm reverence on board. Nobody shouts. Nobody scrolls through their phones. Even the children speak in whispers, as if the mountain already hears us coming. We sail past thick green forests that rise sharply from the water's edge. Mist lingers like breath along the first monastery appears, Dochayariu, perched like a fortress of silence on the rocks. The walls are centuries old, weathered by wind and worship. Every monastery we pass feels like a heartbeat, part of a rhythm that's been going for over 1,000 years. You don't get closer to time than this. Each monastery has a name, a story, and a soul. Xenophontos, with its crimson towers. Panteleimon, the Russian Orthodox stronghold, grand and cold. Simona impossibly built on sheer stone cliffs, an act of faith frozen in architecture. As the ferry glides past, I wonder, are they watching us? Are they praying for us? Or are we just shadows on their outer wall, soon forgotten? The sea is deceptively calm, but beneath its surface it carries the weight of unspoken prayers, silent fasts, and souls seeking peace. I thought I came here to film, but the mountain,
Tomorrow I try to land.
it feels like it's watching.
But even this, just this, feels like enough. As the ferry moves further along the peninsula, we are no longer in the world we left behind. There are no roads connecting these monasteries. No cars, no signs, only paths walked by sandals and prayer. From the sea, Mount Athos looks untouched. Untouched, not because it was forgotten, but because it was protected. For over 1,000 years, life here has revolved around a single purpose: to draw nearer to God. That's it. No ambitions, no fame, no Wi-Fi, just faith built into stone. There are 20 monasteries here, each its own ecosystem of prayer and labor, chants and solitude. Some hold ancient relics like bones of saints or icons believed to weep. Others house libraries with handwritten texts dating back to the 9th century. Their knowledge guarded not by locks, but by silence. You feel it immediately. This isn't a ruin or museum, it's alive. The smoke rising from chimneys isn't decorative, it's today's fire. The chants you hear? That's morning prayer, right now. Mount Athos doesn't just preserve history, it lives inside it. Time flows differently here. Services can last 8 hours, meals are eaten in silence. The day is measured not by clocks but by prayers. And the monks? Many of them have not stepped off this peninsula in decades, some not in their entire lives. Imagine a world where silence isn't awkward, but sacred, where every hour belongs to a divine rhythm, where the absence of noise is filled by something deeper than sound. I thought silence would feel empty, but here, it feels full, heavy almost, like the air itself has memory. We're approaching the harbor where a few pilgrims disembark. I won't step ashore. But even at a distance, Athos has already entered me. As the ferry sails slowly southward, the mood on board grows more intimate. Something about this place, this sea, this sacred coast, draws people inward. You can feel it. Everyone here carries something invisible, a memory, a prayer, a burden, or a question. I strike up a quiet conversation with Nikos, a soft-spoken man in his 60s, clutching a cloth bag and a worn-out icon. He tells me he's been visiting Mount Athos every year since he was 20. My father brought me here. He said, a man should come once in his life, not for answers, but to learn how to ask. There's a young Romanian man sitting on the steps, barefoot, flipping through a small prayer book. He looks like he walks straight out of another century. I ask him what brings him here. I was lost in noise. I need to hear silence again. Some are believers, others are doubters, but all are seekers. That's the thing about Athos. It doesn't demand belief, it just offers presence. And presence here changes you. I expected views. I didn't expect to meet people who were searching for something they couldn't even name. There's a sacred loneliness to this journey. Everyone is together. To hear whatever Athos has to say, not out loud, but deep within. Faith, here, isn't loud. It's not performed, it's lived in silence, in repetition, in each step of a barefoot pilgrim walking the old stone path. And somehow, their stories become mine and yours. Because this isn't just about Mount Athos anymore. It's about what we're all looking for when the world finally goes quiet. There's a kind of beauty that demands attention. Towering mountains, crashing waves, golden sunsets. But then, there's Mount Athos. Its beauty doesn't scream, it whispers. It reveals itself slowly, like a veil being lifted one layer at a time. And the deeper you look, the more timeless it becomes. This land feels untouched, not by neglect but by choice. Even nature seems to obey the vow of silence here. The forests are dense and old, the air is heavy with pine and myrrh. And every now and then, from some unseen bell tower, the soft clang of a monk's bell echoes across the hills. It feels like the earth itself is praying here, like the stones remember every footstep, every whispered psalm. There are no tourists waving from balconies, no crowds, no signs that say, scenic viewpoint. This is a living world protected by rules, by ritual, and by sacrifice. The ban on women? It's controversial, yes. But here, it's not debated. It simply is. Athos lives by its own laws, ancient, patriarchal, and unapologetically so. You begin to realize the reason this place looks untouched isn't because it was missed by time. It's because time was never invited in. Every building here was built by hand, every stone lifted in prayer, every icon painted with fasting and chant. Even the land seems baptized by centuries of intention. You can't film this place. Not really. You can only try to stand still long enough for it to show itself to you. Mount Athos is forbidden to many, but its silence, its rhythm, its reverence, those ripple far beyond the borders. And today, I felt it, without ever setting foot on shore. The ferry begins its return to Aranapoli. Behind me, Mount Athos fades into a blur of green, stone, and sky, still watching, still waiting. I came to film a sacred mountain, but now I realize Mount Athos isn't a destination. It's a mirror, a monastery in motion that reveals more about you than it does about itself. No souvenirs, No photographs from inside the monasteries, no flashy reels, just memory, and maybe silence. A kind of silence I didn't know I was craving. What do you take back from a place that gives you nothing to hold, only something to feel? I sit beside a window as the shoreline reappears. Cars, cafes, laughter. The noise of the world returns like a forgotten song. But it feels different now.
This journey
Louder,
wasn't about
yes,
capturing content,
but also it was about receiving presence. Mount Athos won't be in this video the way it was in my experience. And maybe that's exactly right. I'll remember the silence more than the sights. The prayers I couldn't hear, the feeling that somewhere, hidden beyond stone and forest, men are still choosing to disappear from the world, so the world might remember something sacred. Mount Athos didn't let me in, but it changed me, just by staying still. Mount Athos, not a place to be seen, a place to be felt.